From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we first go over the monthly stimulus check that those Democrats still want you to have. Then, in the second part of this video, we'll be going over the two-path process, reconciliation, which has your stimulus check in it, and infrastructure, which has roads and bridges, which doesn't concern you. And then we cut to the third part of this video. Linked or not linked, Jalapal speaks out, and so does Speaker Pelosi, signaling they are fighting tooth and nail to protect your stimulus. We'll go over all the incredible great news across the board. Then we turn to fifth stimulus with a lot of money at hand. Another stimulus check raising your benefits up, and the new inflationary benchmark, and what the breaking news out of inflation today was incredible. Then we also turn to the big money that viewers get across the board. And yesterday on Afternoons LA, it was a sea of people getting $5,000 to $10,000. It's your day to get it as well. It's a big afternoon. I'm excited for you to see all these incredible details. I'm excited for you to get the big money as well. It's a big afternoon. It's a big day. And let's get to the incredible details, starting right here, right now, on Afternoons LA. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Hope the weather is good where you are as well. The weather has been perfect here in Southern California, at least for the last 24 hours. So crossing my fingers and hoping it continues. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. For stimulus, well, those Democrats still want you to have a fourth stimulus check. We'll be going over in the first part of this recording how much they want you to have. Then in the second part of this video, we'll be going over the two-path process, understanding that your stimulus is where it was and is still where it is, and that the stuff that doesn't concern you is somewhere else. Then, in the third part of this video, we go over the incredible great news as Jalapal speaks out to defend your money and defend the voting process. Linked or not linked, tandem or not tandem. Vote for this first, vote for that first. I'll explain the breaking details as Jalapal speaks out. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which gives you a big lift of your money a lifetime with a new benchmark. And we have breaking news about that benchmark and that inflation today from international economists. We also have new data from United Airlines, which signals where inflation is going. And then, of course, we have comments from Mitch. Yeah, Mitch. My favorite comment of him from the last 24 hours is, the president's not in control of the Congress. Neither are you, Mitch. And this is LA, America's fastest growing and only 24-hour-a-day financial news channel, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. I'm next taped with you at Evenings LA, coming up in an hour and a half after this. So I want you to hit that subscribe button right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. Every like delivers a Care Bear to Mitch. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check. House bill, Senate proposal. Let's go over everything you need to know about those monthly stimulus checks that the Democrats still want you to have. There is two approaches on how to do it. Basically, comparing the amount of the checks and also the number of the checks. Let's go over what you need to know in this first part. First, how many checks? Well, House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. That means stimulus checks monthly for the remainder of the pandemic plus one year. Senators, July to December. Let's look at the monthly payouts. House bill, $1,000 after the first month of 2,000. Senators monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate Democrats want to pay you this. Wow, now that is wonderful news. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. That is per person, and that is deliciousness. Now, if you're in the live chat just after 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from. And for the first time on Afternoons LA, a new surprising wrinkle on this calculation. When we look at this number, you are hearing me say in the last few days, well, the pandemic may be considered over for some legislators, and that would reduce potentially the House bill to pandemic plus 1 year, from pandemic plus 1 year to just 1 year, 12 checks over 12 months. Well, America was surprised and captivated by something that happened overnight. And that thing that happened overnight was Los Angeles County said, after just lifting our mandate for masks 2 weeks ago, saying we're now recommending every citizen of LA County to put your mask back on immediately, because they fear that there's not enough information on the Delta variant, and that with 50% of LA County now covered with the Delta variant, they don't know enough data about it. And with that, maybe the House bill would not get reduced to just 1 year. Maybe those House Democrats that are led by, of course, Pelosi, that's in California, may view, nope, because of the Delta variant, the pandemic is absolutely not over, and that it is entitled to pandemic plus 1 year. So now consider that. Is it 1 year of checks going to be reduced for the House, or will it still be pandemic plus 1 year? Interesting wrinkle. And with that, let's compare that to potentially what the senators would pay you, which over 6 months would be a slightly different amount. Let's compare that, which would be $13,000 for the House versus this from the senators. I can grab the graphic. There's the graphic right there. I think you have an opinion. Vote right now. In lieu of this breaking news about whether the pandemic may be not over or not, which one do you like? Vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Now it's getting very fascinating. It's actually a new wrinkle on this afternoon's broadcast. House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from. Jump in the live chat and vote right now. Well, who gets that fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats would give everyone who got a third stimulus check a fourth stimulus check. Single individuals, $75,000 or less, you would get a fourth stimulus check from those Democrats. Democrats want to give a married couple a fourth stimulus check, $75,000 or less. Double it. Excuse me, $150,000 or less. Double it. Family of four, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. And there you go. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount of stimulus check for everyone. And the fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in a wave, so do not try to wave at the check. So if you're at the hair salon today in San Francisco and see the check trying to get a blowout, hey, check, how's that style you're doing, that hairstyle? How's it going? I see you're here in San Francisco. Didn't wave back at me. Rude check. Don't think it's a rude check. It just has a bad hairstyle. Bad hairstyle. Bad hairstyle, rude check, not the same thing. You have a bad hairstyle. I don't care. You're still rude also. There you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July, with or without a good hairstyle. And in the month of August, for the month of August, the Democrats represent that the final vote would be July 4th. And there you go. That is the first part of your blowout of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 today. In the second part, we go over the two-path process and why that two-path process is really getting fascinating. We also go over some breaking news that as economics are released about the resurgence of inflation. We also go over some surprising new data that signals how strong this economy is going to go. That's huge as we turn to fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus, in the second half of this video, I'll give you a preview, will lift your benefits up based upon inflation. And if this new economic data today is correct, your inflation is going to go through the roof. Your inflation is going to go through the roof, and so are your benefits. But first, let's get some money. It's Tuesday, and let's get some money. That's what I do on this channel. We are not tracking checks, we're cashing checks. And if you're just new to this channel, boy, I wish you had seen yesterday's afternoon's Lalate. You were killing it. Viewers who are jumping into the live chat and revealing the tens of thousands of dollars they have gotten from this channel. So if you've gotten a penny from this channel, or a lot more than a penny, jump in the live chat right now. We're going to be going over the big money you can get from this channel starting right this minute. Get a pen and paper ready. And we're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners' utilities. there's a lot of money available for you, and that's what I do. When this channel launched last year, I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans as the pandemic was ravaging, and I saved people's businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. But in fall 2020, it was much like now when we were waiting for second stimulus to pass, and like now when we're waiting for fourth stimulus to pass, people needed money. I got viewers $250,000 of rent. People like Tyrone got $15,000 for his family of four in Boston. Now you are doing the same. And get that pen and paper ready. And yes, I'm wearing Crayola blue. So it is your day. You can get a Crayola crown ready if you want as well. And there we go. Let's go over that big money. We're going to get that rent, utilities, homeowners utilities as well. And I'm going to show you different places to get it. Each has different eligibility, and they also have their own pot of money. So if one says no, reach out to the next. All right, you ready? Where do you reach out to get this money? Your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. The key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. Or mortgage assistance because of COVID. Or utility assistance because of COVID. And you're not going to say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fan club. They don't know these words. I don't know that. Does that exist? They don't know these words. So don't say words they don't know. And while I've been congratulating Tim and Linda for this big money they've been getting. I mean, viewers, just yesterday's afternoons and evenings Lalate show was just incredible. If you're on the live chat and you've got money for rent, post it right now. I want you to see what people are doing. It's incredible. Last week we got one viewer for $10,000, another viewer for $12,000 for rent. But yesterday we had 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. We had, I think, $10,000 people in the live chat. I mean, it was about $60,000 in just a few minutes that people were saying they had gotten in just a room of a couple thousand people watching. It was incredible. So I want you to get that big money. The next part of the money is wonderful. It is money for SNAP, and viewers were getting that as well. Viewers like Nisi got rent, SNAP, and also utilities. She killed it as well. And how much money is it? A lot. How do you get it? Reach out to Department of Agriculture. Call up Department of Agriculture. What is the money for? It's money for food. It pays a lot. How much does it pay? A family of four in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year for that family of four in Hawaii. Wow. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, for her son, and her mom, Gail, got it. And there is not just a single video that goes by without someone getting SNAP. Jump in the live chat if you got that as well. And boy, there we go. You're killing it. You are just, I'm so proud of you. I want you to really keep it up. You're killing it. I'm killing it. The check in that hairstyle, not killing it. This is not the 1970s. And we're only 12 minutes into this video. Well, I got more money for you right now, and it is money coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you. A lot of money that they had overpaid you due to computer error. The federal government has ordered those states to return the money back to you because it was not your fault that their darn computers don't work. So where are you getting the money? Direct deposit, the account that you have on file with that state unemployment department. When? Reach out to your respective state and say, hey, state, where is that money that's owed to me due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last pot of money is the return of those IRS checks. If you got in that refund check already, jump in the live chat as well and share your information with other viewers. Every time you share information, it helps someone else, inspires other people to get that money. So we're going to go over when, where, and how you get it. Margaret got it. Gail got it. Also, Cod got it, and Michael got it. Let's go over how much money it is. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, if that's what was set up on your 2020 return. Otherwise, in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yes, go to irs.gov. 50% of the time, it reveals stuff you would never 70% of the time, it reveals the data and stuff you would never expect to see. I mean, just really surprising stuff. It reveals the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It reveals really what does Mitch do when he's on the dance floor. It then reveals what is Mitch's fascination with lobsters. And then finally reveals the check that you're getting coming back from IRS. Can we top that? We can top that as we go into our second of our 3 major updates of the fourth stimulus of 2021 today. Wow. So it was about 3 weeks ago that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer were meeting privately with the president. At that time, your stimulus checks were in something called a reconciliation, which only needs Democratic votes to pass in both the House and the Senate. So where are your checks today? Still there. So what happened? Last Wednesday, Schumer and Pelosi finally met with the president and said, Mr. President, the reconciliation is a little bloated. We need to spin some stuff off. Really? Sort of like a TV show. Too many cast members. Got to spin off a cast member into a spin-off show. In this case, it was 2 cast members. Who are those cast members? Roads and Bridges. Boring. Nash Bridges? No, Roads and Bridges. We already had that show, Nash Bridges. This is Roads and Bridges. And the way they spun off the show, called Bipartisan. A little bit less boring than Nash Bridges. So there you go. Roads and Bridges was spun off as that bipartisan spin-off show, Roads and Bridges. Your stuff remained where it was. In the original hit show, Recon, your stuff is still where it is. Forced stimulus, checks, climate, CARES economy, money for seniors, progressive policies. Very, very, very strong progressive policies. Now, what happened between Thursday and today? Ironically, between Thursday and today, everyone has agreed to that the fact that there's 2 paths. So at this point, there's no dispute about the 2 paths. It's actually very clear. The thing that is beneficial about what's going on now, really beneficial about what's going on now, is 2 factors. And it's becoming more amplified hour after hour. You're going to see in the third part of this update why it's even more amplified. One, your stimulus, your progressive stimulus, is getting its own identity. Its identity previously was being tarnished by naysayers who said there is nothing in third stimulus except roads and bridges. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of progressive policies that pays the Americans money in their hands. And the fact that the bipartisan roads and bridges is far, far away from you and out of the recon in its own separate path now is helping your recon get a clearer image. The clearer image is being amplified by people like Mitch McConnell, who's doing us a favor by tarnishing and trash talking the reconciliation, which is giving more clearance of and clarification of how wonderful it is. His statements, it's socialism. It's a Democratic wish list. It's a lot of money for a lot of people who don't need money. Well, thank you, Mitch. You're finally clarifying to the American people that the forced stimulus was always there. It was just getting overshadowed by roads and bridges. That is the first thing. Second thing is we're also seeing that, continuing on the identity issue, is that the identity is now being amplified by the fact that this progressive policy is very progressive. In these videos, you hear me talk about the stimulus checks, which is Jalopal's progressive policy. You hear me talking about the president's climate policy, which is enforced stimulus, which is very progressive. You hear me talking about electric vehicles, very progressive. You hear me talking about the CARES economy, which refers to seniors and medicine and older people on medicine, very progressive policy. However, there is a lot more progressiveness for checks for you in forced stimulus, which I can't cover in a given video. There is purportedly going to be lifetime checks for children in there. There is just an enormous, enormous wealth of progressiveness, and they're trying to pile on even more. So finally, for the first wonderful time, your forced stimulus has an image to it. You were certainly enduring those naysayers over the last few weeks. It's not in there. It's only roads and bridges. No. The roads and bridges are down the street now. They're in their own path. Those roads and bridges were overshadowing the identity of what was for you in that forced stimulus. The second thing that has really helped this whole 2-path process is finally everything that was for you, money for you, that was so progressive, is in really a Fort Knox, or what I call the Fort, F-O-R-T, of fourth stimulus. That fort is the recon, and that the progressives are really protecting that fort like it's their own. The fact that they have removed the bipartisan stuff, roads and bridges, to down by the river in the next town and keeping your recon far, far away from it in its own fort has made it easier, because you're going to see in the third part of this recording that everyone in the Democrats is really, in the Senate and the House, trying to protect that fort like it's gold. Because if it's 1 billion, 1 trillion, 3 trillion, 6 trillion, however many trillion it is, they're protecting like it's gold. And you're going to see that that started over a week ago. A Friday ago, not this last Friday, but the Friday before that, Jalapal said that the president had reached out to Jalapal and thanked her for really protecting his progressive policies in the forced stimulus. At the time, we didn't understand what do we have to protect it from? And Jalapal said, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for watching my back on my progressive policies. In fact, Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, also progressive, said the White House considered the progressive priorities of Jalapal the White House's own priorities. So what was all this about? It was a spoiler for what was to come. That the protection of all your fourth stimulus checks and your fourth stimulus money to you was really being protected by Jalapal and the president protecting it for Jalapal. Really, really wonderful news. How did we get to this great spot? We got to this great spot by Jalapal. Jalapal had written Schumer a letter 2 weeks ago, approximately, saying, Chuck, call the vote. Call the vote on the recon. Well, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who were among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter weeks earlier saying, Mr. President, we're going to be putting fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 House Democrats in what's called the House Subcommittee of House Ways and Means had written the president directly a letter saying, Mr. President, we're going to be writing a fourth stimulus checks into that fourth stimulus recon. Notice how I say the word recon. Who are these people? They wrote your third stimulus check recon checks. They wrote our third stimulus recon checks in the spring? Yes, they did. And they say they're doing your fifth stimulus recon checks for this fall, for next year. Oh my goodness. Who are these people? They're on the subcommittee that's solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks. And they wrote the first stimulus check, the second stimulus check, and the third. They're currently doing the fourth, and they're doing the fifth next. Wow. Can we top that? Yes, we can. As the president has anchored fourth stimulus recon to the finish line by making it easier to pass it with the corporate taxes because of an international agreement. Notice how I'm going back to the word recon? It's important to remember that recon is very different than the bipartisan. Recon is paid for by raising corporate taxes. Bipartisan is paid for by staying away from taxes. You say taxes to Mitch. He started selling his hair turns red. They're staying away from raising taxes. So why is this wonderful news? Well, the president was worried that in raising taxes to pay for recon, that some businesses may move overseas to where the corporate tax rate is lower. So he reached out to those other countries and said, raise your corporate tax rate. And those countries said, yeah, we'll tentatively do that. To which the president reached out to his staff and said, staff, let's bring some of that Jill's potpourri over there, over internationally, into those other countries in December. And then we'll have them sign on the dotted line. To which his staff said, Mr. President, you can bring potpourri now in June. People use potpourri in June. Oh, brilliant idea. So then he went overseas and last month, 2 weeks ago, last Saturday, and got those countries to sign fourth stimulus recon, not to sign fourth stimulus recon, to sign the international agreement which anchors fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line. Because now the provision about international taxes is covered in the international agreement, making it easier for the Democratic caucus to pass fourth recon, because now it's covered by the international agreement. Wow. Can we top that news? We can, as we go into the third of fourth stimulus check update later in this video. As the press secretary speaks out about the linkage of the two paths, Nancy Pelosi speaks out about the linkage and the voting of the two paths, and Jalapal speaks out about the linkage and voting path of the two bills. What you're seeing right now is that the two paths, not a dispute. What's in the recon, not in dispute. What's of dispute is the voting process. And it's heating up. And guess who's fighting for you? Guess who's fighting for you? Not just Jalapal, but your villainous of 2020 is absolutely your hero of 2021. You're going to be surprised for that detail. It's coming up in the second half of this video with the big money for fifth stimulus and the breaking news as Claudia Bordo, head of economic and monetary policy at the International Bank of International Settlements, gives us new economic data about how high your benchmark could raise your benefits. Oh my goodness. It's wonderful news. But what's more wonderful than news than this? The volunteers. If you need rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. They truly embody the Purple Power spirit. Their view is helping viewers. They are located in the description of this video. Open the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house will be a link to the community page, news.la.com/community. Click the link, and it'll send you to that community page with a picture of some kitty cats. They're not the volunteers. They're just kitty cats. Lower on the page are the volunteers. They are separated from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They can help you get that rent, utilities, mortgage, or SNAP if you can't find it. Because remember, we are not tracking checks. We're cashing checks. We're not sitting here wondering what day in July 3rd or 4th or 2nd something's going to happen. We're cashing $10,000 today, $5,000 today, because if you get $15,000 in your hand, you don't care what it's called so long as it's $15,000. And reach out to them. Now, they cannot, the volunteers cannot cook you a tostada. They cannot get you those coveted VIP tickets to Mitch's Lobster Fest 2021. They cannot get you the DVD remix of Mitch's rap song. Not that you would want to hear it. But they can certainly get you everything else. And first, here's a little bit about the volunteers. I'll be back in 60 seconds with exciting breaking details about what Jalopal said about your linkage and your 2-pass coming up right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons Lalate in a big, huge Afternoons broadcast. Wow. The channel is approaching 410,000 subscribers, and I want you to be part of this family. So hit that subscribe button right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Just a few people away from 410,000. So hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. Every like helps. It helps in the algorithm rankings, and it also delivers a side of parsley. And consider becoming a member. In the second part of this video, we go over the shocking great news from Jalopal and one of your villains from 2020 coming out to defend you. Oh my goodness, it's getting good. And then we cut to fifth stimulus and the new economic data coming out internationally and also from United Airlines signaling how strong this economy is for inflation and raising your benefits up lifetime. It's getting good. But let's get it right into that fifth stimulus starting right now. Fifth stimulus has some really surprising developing details. Number one, though that House subcommittee you heard earlier in this video will be writing a fifth stimulus check in the fifth stimulus recon. That fifth stimulus check would be for 2020, January. The voting would be about November-ish, and the drafting of the legislation back in around September. Number two, the president has dedicated $1 billion to the Social Security Administration, which is wonderful news. He wants to ensure that your checks come on time going forward. This is fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, and your monthly benefits checks to solve the problems we saw from third stimulus and that failure to get checks out on time earlier this year. And then finally, the benchmark. We all understand that fifth stimulus will involve a reform of the SSI and SSDI VA system, lifting your benefits up and applying a new benchmark. But how high is that inflationary benchmark going to be? New economic data today came out from Claudio Borio, head of Economic and Monetary Department at the Bank of International Settlements. She said, yes, we're going up, and it's good. For those countries that have been trying very, very hard to get inflation up unsuccessfully, having inflation persistently higher, roughly at target, would actually be good news, and one should rejoice about that. That was number one. Number two, Craig Lazario, managing director of investments, said that the home sales, April's performance was truly extraordinary, up 14.6%. And finally, United Airlines has announced it's hiring 25,000 union jobs immediately, which would be a growth of its staff by nearly 33%. This is all because of inflation. So let's go over how that inflationary benchmark works. There is a lot of reform in this SSI and SSDI, and let's go over how it calculates for you starting right now. First, they raise your benefits up. Then they apply that inflationary benchmark. They remove the asset limit, and they remove the marriage penalty, and also the income exclusion. Let's go over how this works. First, they raise your benefits up one time under fifth stimulus. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, multiple benefits, or casino benefits. Then they apply the benchmark every December for next year. And the first time would be this December. Now, you know how a benchmark works. It determines whether your benefits go up next year or stay stable, stay the same. Number two, we all know the new benchmark will be inflation. Number three, we have learned from this channel that Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, has indicated that inflation will continue to go up and reach its highest spot in December, which is right when they apply your benefits. Wow, that's wonderful news. So how high is that inflation rate going to be? Well, Wall Street analysts are talking about that inflation rate potentially going from about currently 4% upwards to about 10%. This is exciting. So let's go over how this would calculate for you. First, your benefits would raise up one time, and then they'd apply that benchmark. Let's say it's 10% in December. Then your benefits would step up not just 10% next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Wow, that is wonderful news. Finally, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks and some blue Crayolas in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to end the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear the marriage penalty, and you'll be able to marry. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is your fifth stimulus. But boy, if you've gotten a penny from this channel, jump in the live chat right now and say what money you've gotten, whether it's SNAP, you got $100 for SNAP, whether you got $5,000 for rent, whether you got utilities. Nisi got 3 items alone. Norm got 2 items. So if you've gotten any money, jump in the live chat right now. And as you see those people starting to post those things, how do they get that money? By becoming a member. Generally, you'll see them with a purple hawk next to their name. Why do they know this stuff? Because daily, members are delivered from me to them a breakdown of all the big money in third stimulus for them to get. When third stimulus was passed in spring of this year, I said, yeah, you'll get a $1,400 stimulus check, but you will qualify for thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars of money for you to get in the third stimulus. And you need to be ready to pounce as a purple hawk, and get that money before anyone else, because it's your money. And that's what viewers have been doing. They've been pouncing as a purple hawk and getting this money. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Daily, I deliver to you a breakdown of all this money so you can pounce as a purple hawk and get this money. Tens of thousands of dollars. You're not tracking checks, you're cashing checks on this channel. Which brings us to the final big finale. And this is where the battleground is of fourth stimulus. Suddenly, viewers are starting to realize that the fourth stimulus is not a battleground about giving you checks or not giving you checks. It never was. I have been making that video for 2 months. It was never a battleground whether you're getting checks or not getting checks. It was never a battleground whether you're getting checks versus roads and bridges. They were all in there. Now that everything has been separated out, we clearly see what is the battleground and what's not the battleground. It's no longer a battleground about what progressives want to give you, because progressives want to give you a lot of money. They always wanted to give you a lot of money. And it's no longer an identity issue, because now we clearly have the identity, even coming from the Republicans, even coming from Mitch, that there is the progressive stuff for you, which is for the viewers of this channel, and then there's stuff that doesn't concern you, roads and bridges, that's down the road. So then what's left is the battleground. What really is the battleground? It's the voting process. And you're going to really sort of see that reoccurring theme hour after hour, day after day. Let's recap so make sure that you understand what I just said, because it's very, very important. It was never a battleground whether you're going to get checks or not. I had said that since day one. It was never a battleground. Well, obviously, there's always a question about how many checks or how much the checks, but there was never a battleground about checks. There was, second, never a battleground that you're going to get relief, money to you, because the narrative of roads and bridges was just an add-on. It was roads and bridges was separate from your money. Now it's very clear that they're very separate items. So what is the really only battleground? Why is this not done? They can get the checks out in the month of July, but why is it not done? What is the issue of dispute, LA? The only issue of dispute remaining is a word you're going to hear a lot: linked. Linked or not linked? Linked or not linked? They were starting with the word tandem, but they've chosen the word linked more. So I'm going to stay with that one. Linked or not linked? What's the issue? How do they vote on stuff? Are they going to vote on things together, or are they going to vote on things separately? Here's the issue, and make you sure you understand it so you see what's going on. We have really at the moment, well, we almost have four groups. At the moment, we have the bipartisan, and then we have the recon group. The bipartisan group, I want to make very frank to you, because I want you to make sure you understand this. The bipartisan group is Republicans and Democrats, but we don't know how many Republicans are in favor of the bipartisan agreement. So far, Mitch has not come out in favor of the bipartisan, but he has said call for a vote, which is sort of strange. Either you like it or you don't like it. Mitch, of course, does not like the recon. That's given. Next, you have the progressives. They absolutely are protecting your recon, because that is their home. And then you have sort of this sort of ancillary group, which is really sort of murky. Here's what you need to know, is that the President of the United States is appearing across the country this week, touting the wonders of the infrastructure bill. I'm going to go over more about that in a second. But what's going on is that the voting process is determined by the heads of the two branches of Congress. When, where, and how you vote in the Senate is determined by Chuck Schumer. It's not determined by Mitch McConnell. It's not determined by Joe Biden. It's not determined by Nancy Pelosi. It's determined by one guy. His name is Chuck Schumer. In the House, the voting process and when you vote is determined by one person. Her name is Nancy Pelosi. Here's what you need to know. As we sit here today, it is no change from Thursday that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and the progressives have made very clear they are passing your recon, and they are not throwing your recon by the wayside, and they are not calling infrastructure the bipartisan for a vote in a way that will throw recon by the side of the road. Now, this is huge for you for many, many different reasons. One, because the people who need to protect because the issue no longer is what's in the recon. The issue is protecting recon and taking it to the finish line, the voting process. So who are your protectorates? On the Senate side, Chuck Schumer calls the vote and determines what legislation is called for the vote as the majority leader of the Senate. And he is the determining factor as to when things are called for a vote. He will make sure that your recon passes in a way that goes first before he calls a vote on the bipartisan. That's one thing I want you to make clear. That is black and white. It's not going to be any other way. Here's one thing I wanted to laugh. I just want to have a laugh with you as well. One very long time, wonderful viewer who I adore sent me a private message. She's a wonderful viewer. I adore her greatly, but she's also a Republican, and that I adore her for that. She sent me a message that said Marjorie Greene is telling people when she's calling the vote in the Senate. I almost laughed. I'm like, Marjorie Greene is telling us when we're calling votes in the Senate. Marjorie Greene has no control about when things are called for a vote in the Senate. I just about as laughable as I can be. Now, Chuck, who else did that yesterday? Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was trying to say when he wants things called for a vote. Sorry, Chuck. Mitch, you're not in control of the Senate anymore, nor is Marjorie Greene. Chuck Schumer is the one that's going to call the vote on recon first. All right, which then brings us to the Senate, the House. Well, Nancy Pelosi last Thursday said that she is not calling anything of. First of all, she will only accept from the Senate both the recon and the bipartisan together. She will not accept just the bipartisan. Number two, she's calling the recon for a vote first. So Nancy Pelosi, yes, your Temple of Doom for 2020 is now your hero of 2021. This is what Nancy Pelosi says. There ain't going to be no bipartisan bill unless we have a reconciliation bill. And as I said, there won't be an infrastructure bill unless we have a reconciliation bill. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be an infrastructure bill unless we have a reconciliation bill passed by the United States Senate. Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to brush the sweat off my forehead. That is so dramatic. I love it. She's basically saying, you're not going to play games with me. We are passing our recon, and I'm not doing anything unless you give me the recon. Well, Jen Psaki, the White House's press secretary on Monday, said the president's eager to sign both pieces of legislation into law. Now, what did Mitch McConnell say? Mitch McConnell says, I appreciate the president saying that he's willing to deal with infrastructure separately, but he doesn't control the Congress. Nor do you, Mitch. Mic drop. Now, then, can we get this better than this? We can. Guess who also spoke up? Jalapal. Jalapal late yesterday said that, well, I'll just read you the quote. We have an agenda that we have to accomplish, recon, and linking the two bills, recon and bipartisan, is the only way it's going to get accomplished. We, Jalapal and her team, did a poll of our members 10 days ago, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they're not going to vote for a bipartisan deal without the reconciliation package. Done. There you go. Jalapal to the rescue, Jalapal to the finish line, Jalapal to the start. Thank you, Jalapal. It's just wonderful. And there you go. And that is your big finale for Stimulus of 2021. We're running over on time. I got more for you on Evenings Lalate, including the Purple Power Push. Please tune into Evenings Lalate in 2 hours from now. That is going to be a major recording. You see how long this recording went. I had more to go over as well. So I'm saving it for Evenings Lalate. Some big shockers in that video as well. So make sure you tune in 2 hours from now. This video will automatically take you to Evenings Lalate, followed by Overnight's Crypto after Evenings Lalate. So subscribe. Before 100,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Power, Purple Hawk, or Calcino VIP and get delivered to you daily all the big money in third stimulus you can get. Stay informed, stay focused, and join me on Evenings LA with more detail, because I had a lot more details to deliver to you coming up in 2 hours from now.